I'm Dan Rather. Ahead on an all-new 48 Hours. You've seen her on stage, now see her on the road as we spend 48 hours with Patty Loveless. Plus, parents fighting to save their child. You will be there as they pray for a miracle. That and more on 48 Hours next.
The season finale you waited 9 months for.
We're gonna have to deliver the baby here.
The event that will change a family forever.
Something terrible has happened.
Dr. Quinn. Then, she starred in her own show until her dark past was exposed.
God wants every person to be a whole person.
The season finale of Touched by an Angel on America's Night of Finales, CBS Saturday.
You're on CBS.
It took sparks of imagination, technology, and engineering to build the car that would best the Honda Accord. The result? Chrysler Cirrus. With more horsepower, more standard features like air and ABS, and more passenger and cargo space. When you set a new standard, you expect a reaction. And when you're priced thousands less than a comparably equipped Honda Accord, you're sure to get one.
Presenting the Yardman 3-in-1 self-propelled mower. It mulches, bags, discharges, has a 6-speed drive, and a powerful engine. All for the price of much tamer mowers. Yardman Mowers and Tractors, made in America.
The Minnesota Vikings issue an apology for one of their own. The story tonight at 10.
Frustrating 6.5-year search for Jacob, a kidnapped victim we've never met, but we all feel we know.
Tonight, because this story is so extraordinary, we begin with dimension. WCCO TV looks at a series of suspects in the Wetterling investigation, why authorities first became interested in them, and where they stand now. Trish Van Pilsen takes an exclusive look at court documents never before revealed.
Listen, can you hear the sound singing all the world around?
This is the Jacob Wetterling story as we have come to know it.
Listen, Jacob, can you hear our prayers?
He's drawing.
Everywhere around the world singing always sounds so sweet.
Same age as my son.
But there is an untold story, until now shielded from public view. A story of suspects, each more intriguing than the last.
During the past 7 years, investigators have checked out literally thousands of potential suspects. But there's always been a list of the 3 or 4 most promising. That list changes fairly often. New suspects are added as others are cleared.
Sometimes those people are just eliminated in a matter of minutes. And some of them may never be eliminated to our satisfaction.
Suspect number 1.
They were pure hell.
3 months after the kidnapping, this man topped the list. First, he resembled a composite drawing of a man accused of sexually assaulting a boy in a nearby town earlier that year. And this search warrant shows he owned a car, clothing, and scanner equipment similar to what that victim described. What's more, his shoes matched the footprints left at the spot Jacob was taken. And his car tires matched the tire tracks there as well. The suspect failed a polygraph exam, and he had no alibi for the time of the kidnapping.
Did they ask you where you were the night Jacob was abducted?
That was how many months before?
We talked with the suspect in his car.
I don't keep track of last week or the week before. I'm probably home.
He says investigators questioned him for hours in a room like this and displayed several notebooks labeled with his name.
We know it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you. I know it isn't, no it isn't, no it isn't. Till finally I said I have nothing more to say until I speak to a lawyer. And
At that point, he says, he and investigators sat in silence for an hour or so. Then he spent the night in jail. Once he got out, he believes he was put under surveillance, followed for months. Authorities never found any direct physical evidence linking him to the crime, and yet they couldn't completely rule him out either.
You know, the parents just desperately need to know what happened to their boy.
Absolutely, I don't blame them. But there's nothing I can tell them.
And do you have any information about the abduction of Jacob
I have
Wetterling?
no information whatsoever. That's the truth.
Suspect number 2. Authorities zeroed in on him in the first week. He resembled another of the composites.
They showed the composite sketches on TV, and when we saw it, we knew it was him. He knew it was him. He said, they know it's me, or they're coming after me, or something like that.
This woman is the suspect's sister-in-law. She later called police to turn him in.
They were real desperate to interview him.
The suspect had no alibi. In fact, friends saw him 2 hours before the abduction, and then not again until 2 hours after. And he'd been wearing a jacket that night similar to the one described by the boys who were with Jacob. His college roommates in St. Cloud found this poster. Attached to it, a bizarre note. Typewritten, Stage 1, overcoming the want to kill another. Stage 2, it is not impossible to cut one's throat and cry for help at the same time. Stage 3, no one kills themselves who has not wished the death of another. And handwritten, the name Jacob, references to the Wetterling's obscure religion, and the phrase, in the rose garden, a flower has begun to bloom.
Investigators say they were able to pretty much rule him out after talking with him. His family believes he was mentally ill and fixated on Jacob after the abduction. Last year, he killed himself. He was the second Wetterling suspect to take his own life. The other killed himself within months of being questioned.
Suspect number 3 lived a few miles from Jacob. He told investigators he'd taken Jacob and hidden the boy's clothes in his basement.
Police searched his house. They found no sign of the clothes, no sign of Jacob. Authorities believe he is one of at least 3 people who confessed to the abduction, though they were not involved.
Potential suspect number 4 came from a recent tip.
I was questioned maybe a month and a half ago.
He lived within a mile of the spot Jacob was taken. Acquaintances reported he seemed to know specific details about the abduction which had not been publicized. He had taken part in the original search for Jacob, even volunteered at the Wetterling Foundation office.
And you didn't hurt Jacob?
No.
Any idea who did?
I have no idea. Little kids don't turn me on, no.
Kids don't turn you on?
No.
They turn
No, I can't. I don't like kids. Not that I'd kill one.
Well, you know anybody who's into kids?
No. I have no idea.
You don't know anybody who's into kids?
No.
Movies of kids, pictures of kids?
Not that I can think of, no.
The next day, police arrested this man for possession of child pornography.
Wouldn't lie to me about Jacob or anything we've talked about
Nope.
today.
Nope, there's no lie at all there. Honest to God proof.
Okay. Despite the pornography arrest, authorities don't consider him a suspect now. Again, there is no physical evidence linking him to the crime. He's smaller than the boy's description of the suspect, and he says he was home with his family that night.
For 7 years, a stream of leads that has gone nowhere.
We've managed to stay very focused. I told the Sheriff's Department that you'll see me excited, you'll see me emotional when Jacob walks in the door, or when this guy's actually caught.
And over time, the focus of the investigation has changed. Clues that once seemed so important aren't anymore.
We have no clue as to what the man looks like. He wore a mask, so disregard any composite drawing. We have no vehicle description at all, none. So disregard any vehicle that previously was put out.
And the focus of the investigation has begun circling closer to home, Jacob's home. It is possible that the man who took Jacob was no stranger at all. As interesting as these suspects were, there is one man who's been on the short list for some time. Police will not talk about him except to say he knows the Wetterling family, he lied about where he was after the abduction, and he painted and sold his vehicle afterwards. There is no mention of him in the small part of the investigative file that has been made public, but in the words of one investigator, they've put a microscope on him.
Is it somebody we know? That's very disturbing. Is it somebody who's still living in St. Joe? I don't know. That's also disturbing, but I do know that we're still going. We're not going to stop.
I can honestly say that there isn't a day that doesn't go by that one of the officers isn't doing something with this case yet today.
Still unclear whether the person who took Jacob is someone investigators have already talked with or someone they don't even know about yet. For Dimension, I'm Trish Van Pilsum.
And tonight, investigators are asking you to think back to the time of the abduction, to anyone you know who might have acted strangely, whose life changed dramatically afterward, who had made perhaps odd comments about Jacob, perhaps even as they watched stories like this one. If you have any information about such a person, please call the Stearns County Sheriff's Office at 320-251-4240. And if you wish to remain anonymous, you can call Crime Stoppers. The Crime Stoppers number is 800-255-1301.
And we have breaking news tonight. Hopkins police have arrested a man for nearly strangling a woman in her home this past weekend. Police say the man is an acquaintance of the woman. She is now recovering in the hospital. It is not uncommon for Minneapolis police to arrest men who stalk women, but it is unusual when police say that man is a transvestite dressing up like a woman to victimize. Jonathan Elias came upon this bizarre story last night in downtown Minneapolis, and he's there live now with the latest information. Jonathan?
Yeah, Colleen, it was about this time last night that police had pulled over a car. We stopped in to see what was going on. They were taking some complaints from some women who said that the man had been harassing and stalking them. Well, they had him in the back of the squad car, and now it appears that he could be facing charges of stalking with some very unusual circumstances. Police took their time carefully searching this car. They found women's clothing and lots of pictures.
All women.
Even the negatives officers found were of women. The car was pulled over because a woman told police the person inside was stalking her. They arrested 35-year-old Elliot Victor Benacasa, a person police describe as a man who dresses up as a woman to stalk women and snaps pictures of them.
He photographed a lot of women's legs and things of this nature. He seems to have a fetish for women's feet or legs.
Lieutenant Dale Barsness, in charge of sex crimes for Minneapolis, describes both the suspect and the case as strange. He says 3 women so far have come forward filing complaints against Benacasa.
There's not been any physical touching or anything of that nature. It's just been harassment and stalking.
Benacasa is familiar to others in law enforcement. St. Louis Park Police had him charged last year. Sources tell us he confessed to driving around a shopping center naked from the waist down while masturbating, looking at women. In that case, he pled guilty to indecent conduct back in January. And Minneapolis police do tell us that they have some little history with Benacasa. They said that he was picked up videotaping women that were coming and going at the city center in the Victoria's Secrets. And what little we do know about him is that he's a clerk over at HCMC, and tonight a couple of his coworkers called us. One of them in particular said he's a very strange man and said that they had filed a harassment charge against him. She said the nature of that charge was not sexual harassment, just harassment. Obviously, the case we'll keep an eye on, and we'll follow and let you know what happens.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. Benacasa is behind bars tonight awaiting charges in this most recent arrest.
Tonight, the charge is first-degree murder against the Prior Lake teen who killed a sheriff's deputy. The grand jury handed up the indictment against 17-year-old Tim Chambers. Chambers was driving a stolen car and fleeing police when he broadsided Deputy John Liebenstein's patrol car. Chambers will be tried as an adult.
Tomorrow, it's back to court for Fernando Smith, more famous now as a deadbeat dad than a Minnesota Viking. Smith fell $42,000 behind in child support payments. Tuesday, the Vikings sent a letter of apology and more than $19,000 to Genesee County, Michigan. That's where Smith's daughter lives in poverty. Tomorrow, Smith is expected to waive extradition back to Michigan. Prosecutors there say they will demand jail time as part of the punishment.
In national news, the Navy's top officer is dead tonight, the result of a suicide. Admiral Mike Borda shot himself in the chest rather than face questions about his military record. Among the many medals that Borda wore, 2 Vietnam Combat Awards he apparently never earned. Borda's suicide came an hour before a scheduled interview with Newsweek magazine on that subject. And in the Everglades today, search teams recovered the engines from ValueJet Flight 592. Mud is the main enemy now. Each 1-ton engine was covered by another ton of mud. Still not found any of the oxygen canisters that allegedly may have been part of a fire aboard. All of the wreckage will be taken to the Miami airport for reconstruction.
Tonight, Northwest Airlines is facing a sex discrimination suit from a woman who says she was the highest paid female executive in that company. Kathy Thompson was fired from Northwest last July. She says she was treated differently than her male counterparts and victimized by sexist comments. But Northwest spokesman John Austin says the suit has no merit.
More generally, to her claim of was this a case of sexual discrimination, we can say absolutely not. Something we don't tolerate at Northwest.
However, this lawsuit is the latest in a string of discrimination and harassment suits filed against Northwest. Just recently, the I-Team showed you 2 women who are suing. Carol Ann Hochhalter says a manager called her several times asking her to have sex. And Deborah Forcell says her troubles were with a supervisor who referred to an explicitly named drink.
I was given a matchbook cover that he had written on the back of, which stated if I wanted different days off, that I would drink a blowjob in front of him and other managers in the department.
All of the lawsuits are pending. Northwest denies all the charges and says it will take its chances in court.
And in tonight's medical news, a warning about digital cell phones and pacemakers. A researcher at the Mayo Clinic says carrying a digital cell phone can cause pacemakers to slow down, to shut off, speed up the heart rate. So what can you do if you have a pacemaker? They say buy an analog phone and don't carry it in your breast pocket.
Well, you don't need a cell phone to affect your heart after watching this. A guy bungee jumped 900 feet. That's a world record. He needed the Swiss Alps and a strong stomach to do it. But it's going to be a while before that record is broken. Yikes.
What? The bikes are back. Those very ugly yellow bikes in St. Paul tonight. We caught up with some folks enjoying a free ride this evening. There are 100 bikes and more to come in the next few weeks, and they are so yellow and they are designed to be ugly so that thieves will not take them. Last year, most of the bikes were in fact stolen or stripped for their parts.
Now let's talk about driving. We've probably all gone through a yellow light as it turns red, but it's more dangerous than you think. Last year in Minnesota, running the red contributed to more than 3,000 accidents. 9 people were killed and more than 1,100 hurt. But now there is a surefire way you can be caught running that light. Tom Stewart reports.
Imagine you're an alien observing human behavior, like in the movie Starman. What would you make of a yellow traffic light?
What are you doing?
I watched you very carefully. Red light stop, green light go, yellow light go, very fast.
Dashing through yellow lights isn't alien to most of us, so we wondered, how legal is it? State Signal Engineer Gary Reese.
In Minnesota, it's legal to enter an intersection on yellow.
And, says Reese, the yellow is designed to automatically give you enough time to slip through.
It's about the same as the speed limit divided by 10. So a 40-mile-per-hour speed limit would give you about a 4-second yellow light.
Yet, so many of us are in such a rush these days that a lot of intersections end up looking like the finish line at the Indy 500. Take a look at what we saw at a number of intersections in the Twin Cities and suburbs. First, downtown Minneapolis, where we observed the intersection at 11th and LaSalle for about an hour. The light turns red now, but hello. Check out this latecomer. The signal changes now, but 1, 2, almost 3 seconds later, a car speeds through. And who hasn't made a left turn on an almost red arrow like this blue pickup? But whoa, how about this second driver? In fact, we found that a lot. 5 cars slipped through this one. We found red light runners in St. Paul, like this intersection at 7th Street and Payne Avenue. And it was like an instant replay in the suburbs, like Plymouth. And look at the big fish we caught in Maplewood. But we saw a virtual stampede through the red at Lake Street and East Calhoun Parkway. Time and again, the traffic keeps coming. We thought this white van was pushing it until we saw the car behind it. And this was just a sampling of what's becoming part of driving as usual. You don't realize how dangerous red light running can be until someone slams into you. According to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, running traffic controls accounts for 22% of all crashes. And accidents involving running a red light injure or kill the driver or occupants 45% of the time, more than any other type of crash.
And you'll stop them, and they won't even realize they blew the light. What light or what stop sign? Those are really scary ones.
So some places are turning an electronic eye on the problem, including New York City. It's deployed about 18 cameras in a test program.
We're seeing already a reduction of 15 to 20% of the level of violation. So it's already having an impact.
Cities like Fort Meade, Florida are also testing a camera that takes moving video and still shots of the license plate and driver. Take a look at this video again. The camera catches the white van running the light after it's been read 1.3 seconds. The driver will get a surprise ticket in the mail. And beware, red light runners of Minnesota. Dimension has learned that camera cop technology may be coming soon to a semaphore near you. While state transportation officials didn't want to go on camera themselves, traffic specialists have confirmed they hope to be demonstrating a pilot system as soon as this summer. So next time you're tempted to go through this, remember someday you may be caught by a candid camera. I'm Tom Stewart, 4 News.
Well, you don't have to worry about those cameras just yet. The legislature would probably need to pass a law allowing camera cops before they're up and clicking.
Now, here's a special look at what you'll see Sunday night in Dimension.
It's too frustrating. It's too humiliating and degrading.
There's a program paid for with your tax dollars that some say is a shambles. Many who depend on its service can't.
This just isn't fair.
Even some employees are unable to defend it.
Day in and day out, it's not working.
What's making these people so upset? Join Tom Gasparoli and the Waste Watchers team as they tackle a government service that just can't seem to get it right.
It's like excuse after excuse after excuse.
Sunday at 10 on WCCO 4 News.
That's Sunday. Fair to say a lot of famous people have become saints. You think?
That's absolutely right. Today, Jack Morris and Darryl Strawberry suited up and started throwing. Mark Rosen has their comeback story.
Temperatures continue their comeback. Unfortunately, that's not the case for the sun.
But first, take a look at these names from Ramsey County and see if some of the unclaimed cash is yours.
Four News is brought to you by Infiniti, the luxury automobile company ranked best overall car line and initial quality by J.D. Power & Associates.
You can project light in any direction, but unless it's focused, you can't see clearly. That's why Infiniti employed special projector beam headlights for the J30 to safely focus light where you need it. The J also has dual airbags, ABS, and seatbelt pretensioners, but you're less likely to need them if you see the light.
It's here, the all-out Sealy sale at Slumberland Furniture, the Midwest #1 Sealy store. Get the biggest bonuses of the year on America's favorite mattresses. Choose firm, cushion firm, plush, or ultra plush. Get 2 free pillows and up to $80 extra off the already low sale price of every Sealy and Sealy Posturepedic set. Plus, get no payments and no interest for 6 months on any qualifying Sealy purchase. All-out savings on Sealy, plus no payments or interest for 6 months. Don't miss the all-out Sealy sale right now at Slumberland Furniture.
It is red, the color of passion. Without it, all of this would be gone. Even the little light bulb are gone. But the little light bulb is not gone. With it, there is nothing that I cannot possess. It is what I want, for what I need. It is red. It is mine. And it is from Target.
The Target guest card. What you want or what you need. It's a border state battle when the Twins take on the Brewers Friday at 7.
The more pieces required to assemble an object, the less rigid that object becomes. That's why Infiniti designed the J30 to have fewer body panels, so fewer pieces flex over time. That means better handling and a more comfortable ride. And when you put it all together, you have the best quality luxury car in its class.
Today's closed captioning is being sponsored by Allina Health System, offering a lifetime of healthcare options.
Now, 4 News continues with Don Shelby, Colleen Needles, Mark Rosen, and meteorologist Rebecca Cole. This is 4 News.
Oh, I hear some blues up there. You know what? I think, is that Cajun
kind of
music?
night, isn't
Because
it?
I heard you started to put some onions in today, didn't you?
It's been a little dreary out here, so we figured, what the heck, let's get a blues band up on top of the roof. That's what we've done. We're going to introduce you to this wonderful band coming up, but first we're going to take a look at the forecast for tonight. It's going to be a mild one, dropping down to 63 degrees. We've got cloudy skies. We expect that some areas may see a scattered thunder shower, so keep that in mind. And then for tomorrow, cloudy throughout the morning hours, maybe a break of sunshine by noon. Temperatures are going to be approaching 80 degrees with a threat for some thunder showers by the afternoon hours. Daytime high in the Twin Cities made it all the way in the 70s. Right now hasn't gone down much. It's only 67 and cloudy out there. Dew point quite high, and I got to tell you, it feels pretty good out here. Winds have been gusting out of the southeast, 17 now. They've been gusting up to 30 miles per hour. Daytime high made it up to 73. Overnight low dropped down to 56 degrees. Start you off looking at some radar. You can see where the thunderstorms are erupting. This was earlier today. That moved up in northern Minnesota, but now we're watching a very strong line of thunderstorms right in western North and South Dakota. That is going to be tracking across the region, and as a result of that, we got some watches we're going to talk about. But satellite pictures showing all the storminess. We've got this arc of clouds that just continues to nail us and keep it cloudy around here. It's going to be the same thing for tomorrow. You can see the storms out there. As a result, we do have tornado watches, not for Minnesota, but in the Dakotas. This is until 5 a.m., 1 a.m. out to the west. And of course, we've got our staff ready to go in case we do have severe weather, so we will keep you updated throughout the afternoon hours tomorrow, which is when we think it might strike if it does. So this is what's going to happen. That low pressure system coming up, that's going to help bring in warmer air, but we will see cloudy skies. Once again, here's a look at your forecast for the next couple of days. Chance for some thunder showers on Thursday, partly cloudy Saturday, Monday and Tuesday, partly cloudy, 72. Now, back to the band that I promised. This is Sweet Pea and the J.J. Lewis Blues Band. They're going to be playing on Nicollet Mall this weekend, where the Festivals of Festivals will be taking place. Starts tomorrow evening, runs through Sunday. It will basically be taking place between 4th and 9th Street on Nicollet Mall. A lot of blues you'll be hearing, maybe people like this. Well, we got sports coming up with Mark Rosen. Don't go away. That's right after this break.
It's loaded with the features you want most. It's packed with safety you demand.
We are driving excitement.
It is the 1996 Pontiac Grand Am. And the most exciting thing of all is its price, just $13,999.
We are driving excitement.
See your Pontiac Excitement dealers.
Pontiac.
I wonder if the neighbor's got an ALS-resistant weed. Now that's what I call a resistant weed. Hey, old Buck's good, but with Bucktril, we manage ALS resistance before it's a problem. Right, boy? Want to know more? Drop by your Bucktril dealer soon.
A light shines in the night, comforting, warming, illuminating, letting you know someone is there should you need them.
Mom, we don't do fried.
KFC realizes fried chicken isn't on everybody's menu every day. That's why our new tender roast comes in pieces, just like our original recipe. So bring home both and make everybody happy.
Thanks, Dad.
No matter what day it is.
And as a special treat, KFC is offering a great deal on a great new taste, tender roast. For only $10.99, you can enjoy 8 pieces of tender roast chicken, large mashed potatoes with gravy, large coleslaw, and 4 biscuits, all for just $10.99. Everybody needs a little KFC.
Menards stacks up the savings for all your spring projects. Add beauty to walkways, patios, and more with brick-face patio blocks. Choose from red or tan, on sale now for $1.46 each. Keep things organized with storage sheds from Arrow. Choose from many styles and sizes. The Hamlet has a 12-year warranty against rust. Now $173 after rebate. Menards is your savings place for storage items.
Save big money at Menards.
Play Fish Finder, the new instant game from the Minnesota State Lottery. There's 3 games on every $2 ticket, and a loon doubles your prize up to $20,000. But hurry. You can't keep a good fishing spot secret for long.
Mention Game 7, and Jack Morris still gets goosebumps. He's been to the mountaintop more than once, and he's been humbled more than twice. But in Jack's own immortal words, let's get it on once more. Yes, you can go home again. Morris has done that with the Twins. Now it's back to his neighborhood in St. Paul. The opening of Saints camp had a World Series feel to it. I mean, Jack Morris and Darryl Strawberry on the same minor league team? He has a few more gray hairs and a couple more pounds around the belt line, but the fire inside has reignited in Jack Morris. He left the game a year ago because of personal, not physical problems. Yes, all this media attention is nice, but Jack's not here for the publicity, the paycheck, or the bus rides. He wants one more shot at the big leagues, which includes the team under the dome.
I'm not sitting here wishing any ill will to the Minnesota Twins organization. In fact, I feel guilty somewhat about the attention that we're getting here. But you know what? I want to play again, and I'd love to play for the Twins. But, you know, I'm glad to have a uniform on, and that's all that really matters.
Morris's new teammate has the talent most major leaguers can only dream of. But playing the game on the field has rarely been Darryl Strawberry's concern. His self-inflicted personal